Because some ideas, you just sit down, the lightning comes from your fingertips. It's like, ooh, I got everything down real quick. And like, you got a beat done in 5 minutes, but sometimes it takes a while. You have all these ideas, you scrap them, you go back to ground zero, and then you get it after a little bit.
Kilroy is here. That's the name, right?
Kilroy was here.
Kilroy was here. Okay. Because your Instagram says Kilroy is here, right?
Yes.
All right. So.
Yeah, just a bullshit.
No, go ahead. Explain it.
Okay. So basically, when I initially started, I made another account called Kilroy Was Here. And I lost the login. And because I lost the login, I couldn't make my account Kilroy Was Here. So I was like, Kilroy is on Instagram. So Kilroy is here. And so I just did Kilroy is here for Instagram.
Okay. Simple enough. So explain the meaning behind or is there any meaning behind that name? Is it just like something that sounds cool to you, or is there something like a deeper meaning to that name?
I don't know if there's a deeper meaning, but there is a story behind the name. I was flying home from Indiana when I first started making beats. This would have been like my first year. And I was like watching a video on Vox on the first meme. And it was this little dude named Kilroy Was Here. And what they would do is during World War I, I think, and in World War II, they would draw this character on the wall and then be like, Kilroy was here, and then just leave it. And then everyone would just put Kilroy was here and then like tag it in little places, and then people would see it. Yeah, it was just little. It was like it was a troll. I think it was the first, troll or like prank or not prank. First meme. Yeah, the first meme. Jeez. Yeah.
Oh. And so there's no like, even back then there was no like significance to the Kilroy thing. It was just like someone started something silly and then it kind of caught on and people started taking it and putting it everywhere.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. So people have been trolling since World War II.
Yeah, around there, just putting Kilroy Was Here all over the world.
What do you tell people you do? How do you introduce yourself?
That is... Honestly, I don't really introduce myself like that. I say my name is John. I make beats, but I really don't go that in-depth into it unless they really ask. I'm very shy like that. I don't really... It kind of embarrasses me a little bit, even though it shouldn't. But yeah, I usually don't try to like, oh yeah, hi, my name is Kilroy Was Here. I make beats. Yeah, I don't. I try not to do that. I'm shy. I'm low-key.
Yeah,
a little bit. Yeah.
Well, why would you say you're embarrassed by it, or why is it that you're kind of timid about introducing the whole Kilroy thing to people?
I think because it is such a personal and vulnerable side of me that when I do tell people about it, it makes me feel naked. And it's like, because it is like this whole Kilroy Was Here thing, it's me expressing myself in a way that I really can't do in any other form or fashion. And so it is very personal to me. And yeah, no one wants to.
No, I can relate to that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think like I know exactly the feeling of like, especially when you say I make beats, so people have like a stigma to that sometimes. Oh, you just like sit in your house all day and make beats. And it's like, oh, even if that is true, like, what's wrong with that? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, how is that any different than a painter painting all day in their studio or any other type of artist doing what they do, you know? But it gets stigmatized, so I can understand that.
And then they ask me what type of beats I make, and then I have to go explain it, and it's like, what the fuck do I even say? I say lo-fi beats, but it's not really lo-fi beats. It's just, they're beats. I don't know what to say.
because it's your cousin asking you, and they listen to like Travis Scott, and I love Travis Scott. I mean, I'm just like, I didn't even mean to throw out a name like that, but they listen to like what's on, what's popular, whatever. So they think like, oh, you make those type of beats, and so then you have to explain even a little bit further, like, no, actually, there's this whole sample based thing that's been going on for a really long time, and you try to play it for them, they're like, I don't understand, and at least that's been my experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe I'm projecting here.
No, you're not projecting. I've had the same experience. I think we all have.
So I was looking at your Bandcamp, I think, and you said when I was younger. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna just go and read it
Damn.
because I thought it was really interesting. You said my ears grew up in the underground. While most kids grew up listening to radio hits, I was forced to listen to MF Doom, Wu-Tang Clan, and Madlib. The opening piano riff to All Cats was constantly stuck in my head, and the Shogun Assassin intro to and Liquid Swords was always on repeat. The auditory training that I endured as a child is what helped form my sound today. So that's really interesting language. You said I was forced and I endured. So you went through this like boot camp, this beat boot camp, this boom bap boot camp, so to speak. Who was it that forced you to listen to that music?
My fucking dad. My dad. You would play. It was food. He would pirate shit, and he'd like get these CDs, and he'd make playlists of like Mad Villainy and food, and like we had the Liquid Swords CD for the Wu-Tang Clan. But yeah, he would just play rap all the time, and he'd play the same type of rap, and he'd play the same songs over and over again. And I listened to them over and over and over again. The da na 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 na. Yeah. I've heard that so many fucking times. It's not that it was a bad thing. It was just that I've heard it so many goddamn times. But I'm glad that he did it, because if he didn't do it, I wouldn't have the taste of music that I do today.
When I listen to your music, I could definitely hear those influences, and I mean that in a really good way. I think there's a really interesting instinct that you have with the way that you put together your stuff that I don't hear all the time. I mean, obviously with what I do here, I listen to a lot of beats. I listen to a lot of people and what they create. And what I notice with a lot of people who make beats, because of like how democratic music making is now, which is amazing to me, there's a lot of people just making beats, and there's a lot of people that kind of get 70 to 80% there, and then they kind of plateau with their music. And this is just me like being a music fan, music critic, or whatever, in addition to being a creator. I don't mean that in any sort of condescending way, but what I mean is like the drums, they almost get there, and then they kind of plateau, and the drum patterns are just kind of okay. The sample chops, they get there most of the way, but not quite there. So the stuff comes together in a really cool way. But like when I hear your stuff, I hear like really precise, expert level chops with the vocal chops, with the soul chops, with the interjection, is that a word, of like the movie clips and stuff that you use. Like I hear all those influences when I listen to your stuff. How long did it take for you to get to that level? And I'm going to ask a whole lot of stuff about how you make beats and stuff, but just generally speaking, how long did it take for you to get to that level of technical expertise, I'm going to say, with the way you make beats?
That's a really good question. I want to say 3 years in, when COVID hit, I was a senior in high school, and so that meant no more school for like the whole year, and that gave me time to like really sit down and lock in and understand what I was doing. I put all my time into beat making, and that really helped me understand certain things about beat making, and then I was listening, and that's when I started listening to other people's beats, and then not listening to samples alone on their own. So yeah, I would say year 3 is when I started to get more into kind of gluing things together a little bit more. But I'm still, like, even now, I'm still learning stuff that I'm finding out that is helping me out so much. So.
You've been extremely prolific. Like if I'm counting correctly, you've put out over 20 projects since 2020. Is that correct?
Over how many?
20?
Maybe, probably around there. Maybe, yeah.
Because on your Bandcamp page alone, there's 20 projects. But I saw on Spotify there's like one-off releases and stuff like that in between as well. So you've just put out a shitload of music since the beginning of 2020. How have you been able to be so prolific and put out so much music in such a short period of time?
Part of it is I force myself. This is also a detriment to myself, but I force myself to complete stuff, and I try not to hold on to things for too long, because if I hold on to things too long, they're not going to get done at all. Another thing is just wanting to get my music out there. I feel like whenever I make a beat tape, it's like this month's sound, like the sound I was chasing for this specific month, and it's like a diary a little bit with the beat tapes, and I can go back and I can see what kind of phases I was in, and I can kind of look back on where I was mentally with the beats. So there's a lot of stuff. I want to put out a lot of music. I want, when I die, I want to be satisfied that I have enough music out there, even if it's not always what I want to put out. I know that the people, even if I don't like it, that doesn't mean anyone else isn't gonna like it. So it's really just me providing for other people content, and then me also, I want people to listen to my beats. So it's a lot that goes into. I don't know if I properly answered your question, but yeah.
No, that makes perfect sense. What keeps you from? Because myself and a lot of other people that I know that make music, there is this crippling level of like perfectionism and overthinking that comes with being a creative. I think that's just like anyone who's creative, there's just a certain level of like neuroses that we have when it comes to making stuff, right? We're always in our head all the time. What keeps you from overthinking whenever you're creating and bring it across the finish line consistently?
That's a good question, because I have recently fell into a perfectionism pit this year, where I've had a problem of releasing projects this year, and I'm starting to get out of it, I guess. What has gotten me out of it? I don't know, honestly. What gets me out of it just makes me feel stuck when I get into a perfectionism pit. It makes me feel stuck, and it makes me feel like I can't get out of it. And the way I find to get out of it is to just let it go.
Yeah.
Just to let it go.
Let it go. And know that there's another beat to be made.
Yeah, exactly. Let it go. You can always come back to the beat, or you can always just let it go. Maybe that was just the idea you had. Maybe you can't flesh the idea out more because that's all you got, and that's all you're capable of at that moment. And maybe the best thing is just to move on to another idea, try different things out.
Is that the kind of stuff that stopped you from doing a better job of living in the moment when you were like 19, 20, 21, 22? It's just like, touring was adventurous, coming out with albums was like more of a dream realized, and people were coming up to you all the time, so it was kind of hard to appreciate those moments at a realistic pace.
I'm not even sure if, me and my friends like wanted fame. I think to a certain extent we all had like this dream, and it was a sick.
I do not put out everything that I make. There's a lot of stuff on my computer that I have not put out. It's not because it's bad or anything. The way I make my tapes is I start off with one track from that I really, really like, and then I build it from there, and I try to build something that's cohesive. And sometimes some tracks can't fit in there, and so I just take them off and I leave them off. And honestly, the length of my tapes, it depends on what I'm going for at the moment. Like with Bananarama 3000, I was like my longest tape. I just wanted to put out a bunch of beats, but usually I start with one track, I build it from there, and then when I get to a point to where I feel like I can't add anything else, or it feels like it's complete, I'll complete it, and then everything else I didn't make it in doesn't make it in. But that doesn't mean I can't use it later on, because there are plenty of projects where I recycle old beats and I just put them back on.
Okay, so there is sort of a recall to previous stuff that you will make at a certain period of time to like put together something cohesive. So it's not that everything that in the moment you're creating goes on the project. Sometimes you'll revisit older ideas.
Exactly.
Okay, makes sense. How would you say? Have you ever like timed yourself on average how long it takes to make a beat?
It depends. During the COVID days when I was training, when I was doing like I would put I put a timer on myself, like a 2-hour, 30-minute timer, and I brought it down to an hour and 30-minute timer, and I could make and like do a little mixing of a beat in like an hour and 30 minutes. Now I don't know how long it could take me to make a beat. I feel like it ranges anywhere from like 10 to like an hour sometimes. It's not that I make beats so fast, just that I spend so much time making music. I spend a lot of time making music in my room.
But people don't know that because they weren't there. And the people I grew up with that lived in Koreatown, they moved out by the time they were like 15 or 14 or something like that. So I'm probably the only one of my friend group that grew up there doing all this crazy stuff together, riding bikes and, climbing through property.
How much of your day is dedicated to making music?
It depends on the day sometimes. It really depends on the day. I like to make something, at least a beat every day. I try to make a beat every day, but sometimes it doesn't work out. And then sometimes I go periods without making a beat. But then maybe I may have a day where I make 3 or 4 beats that one specific day. So it ebbs and flows. It's not as consistent as I would like at the moment. But I do.
So you don't have any sort of quota where you're like, I gotta make 3 beats a day, or I gotta, well, I mean, you did kind of say I try to make at least 1 beat a day. Is that sort of your quota?
Yeah.
And then, do you sort of set a project timeline for when you want to release something, or is there any sort of structure to that, or is it just like, I feel like this is done, I'm ready to put something out now?
Usually with the other projects, it's I'm running out of time, I gotta put something out. It's usually last minute, and I don't really give myself a deadline. I should give myself a deadline, but I don't. I just try to push it as close as I can to the edge, and then I do.
So why do you feel like you're running out of time then?
A lot of it is because I get one idea and I'm like, oh, this idea would be better. Oh, let's try this out. Oh, maybe we could do this to this project. Oh, maybe instead of doing a project of all this, I could do a project of all that. And I get really scatterbrained sometimes with projects, and I try to do too much sometimes. And when I try to do too much, I run out of time.
When did you first start, making beats? Like, was it around 3 years ago that you first started, or was that just when you felt like you were good enough to start releasing music?
That was when I felt I was good enough to start releasing music. I've been making beats for 5 years, and I started when I was 15. We moved out here, and I had no friends, and I had no hobbies, and I had nothing to do. So I decided to pick up beat making, and it's taken over.
taking over. Now you about to take
Yeah.
over. What made the SB404 the weapon of choice, or is that your only weapon of choice? I mean, I think I've seen like peeps at your setup through some of the clips you've put out and stuff like that. That I assume the 404 is your primary weapon of choice, right?
Actually, Ableton is my primary weapon of choice. I use the 404, and the reason why I like the 404 is because it looks so fucking cool on video. It's a really good. I mean, I like the 404. But it's a really good performance tool, and it looks cool when someone's using it. You're like, what is this rectangular machine that you're using that music is coming from? It's kind of like impressionable sound in his iPad. How you see his iPad in the how I like the iPad in the background, and it just looks so fucking cool. And you see the buttons moving, you're like, what the fuck is going on? It's kind of like that with the 404. It's just to attract attention. But I'll be honest, I don't use the 404 like that. I do not really like the 404 workflow. I'm unable to in the box.
Okay, cat's out of the bag. So you will after like create, compose inside of Ableton, and then load it up into the 404 as a performance device.
Yeah, when I'm making videos, that's what I do. But when I'm making beats,
makes sense.
I'll just run it through the 303 vinyl simulator compressor, and then that's it.
Do you have like any sort of set formula or process for how you begin a track? Like, is it I'm going to start with the sample chop, or I'm going to start with the drums, or is it just kind of like whatever idea emerges first?
Usually drums, but sometimes I'll start with a sample. I notice that when I start with a sample, first I get more unique drum patterns, but sometimes most of the time I just start off with the drums to give myself a spine, a backbone, because when you start off with the drums, you can like swap samples, swap things. It's really easy just to move through ideas and sort through what is good and what's not when you start off with drums, I feel like.
How long did it take for you to feel confident to say, all right, I want to release my art to the world for, I don't want to say critique, but for enjoyment, for consumption? What was that process like in developing your craft enough to say, I'm confident enough to release this?
It wasn't even me confident. It was more out of desperation. It was senior year. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I was like having a crisis because of it. And then I was like, I came across an Adam Ivy video, who's like a really good music marketer, and like with Instagram and stuff, he helped me out a lot. Adam Ivy, and I came across a video of him talking about how to grow an Instagram platform and make a career for yourself out of your music. And I was like, that's interesting. And he had this video on this program, on this basically 1,000 followers in 90 days thing. And it was a video breaking it down. It's basically comments on hashtags and comments on people's posts and stuff like that. And I watched the video and I was like, I can do this. I can try this out. I'm going to try this out. I'm going to try putting my music out there. I'm going to try this out, this music marketing thing. I have nothing else I want to do in life. Maybe I want to go to school for biology. No, I don't want to do that. Let's see if I can try this out. And then I tried it out. It worked. It was working. And then I decided to go to school for music technology. And then here I am.
Nice. Yeah, I was going to ask about your Instagram growth and what was a contributor to that. So it was basically you saw a marketer. I think I'm familiar with Adam Ivy. I think I've seen some of his YouTube stuff. So you saw kind of a template that he gave on how to grow your following. You went through
Yes.
with that, committed to it, and was able to see a lot of growth from that.
Yes, exactly. Summed up perfectly.
Got it. Got it. What do you see long term happening with you, your music, and what you want to accomplish?
Okay. I would like to live off of my music. Obviously, I feel like that's what a lot of people want to. I'd like to teach people. I'd like to do videos, breaking things down, helping other people get in. Kind of want to try out the mixing engineering thing a little bit. I think that'd be pretty fun. Especially since that's what I'm in school for right now. I'd like to collab with some artists or some artists I want to collab with, but mostly it's like Quelle Chris, people on like Stone's Throw or like Mellow Hype Music, or maybe out in New York. I just want to collaborate with artists, but yeah, I don't know. I see myself being a cozy 40, 30-year-old living in maybe the suburbs, a dog in my house. Yeah, I'm not rich. I drive a car. Not a nice car, but a car that gets me from point A to point B. I have plants. Yeah, chilling. I'm chilling. I'm living a chill life. I don't know, yeah.
Just a regular suburban dude
exactly.
making beats.
That seems perfect to me.
Dope, man. Well, I mean, yeah, if that's the bar, then like you're gonna get that in no time, dude. Like I have no doubt at all. 'Cause your stuff is amazing. You're really good. I reached out to you for a reason. I think you're gonna do. I mean, let me rephrase. I think you're gonna go way beyond that. I think if you continue at the pace that you're at right now and you stay committed to the craft, like you're there's a lot in store for you, man.
Thank you. That means a lot. That really does.